Hi, this is Miss Logan from Avondale High School, and today I will be going over Unit 1, Part 1 flipped lesson on graphing and rearranging equations. As a reminder for flipped lessons, first you need to watch the flipped lesson and take detailed notes. Remember that you can pause, rewind, and fast forward anytime during this lesson. When you are done with this lesson, you need to complete the Google form and also press Done on Google Classroom. Let's start. So to begin, let's talk about the type of graphs that we'll see. The one we'll probably see the most is our scatter plot right here. So in scatter plots, we are graphing points. We are not actually graphing a line. Right here, though, we have a line graph where we're graphing points and then connecting the lines. We may also see a pie chart over here, and there's other graphs down here like bar charts and histograms. But these are the two that we're really going to focus on in this class. All right, let's go over parts of a graph. So down here we have our x-axis, and this is our independent variable. This is what we are changing. For instance, in this instance, we are talking about time. We're often going to see time on the x-axis. However, on our y-axis, this is our dependent variable. This is what is changing as a result of our independent variable. You'll see here that we have a nice scale, which is something that's very important for you to think about as you start graphing things. We also have our title up top. All right, so let's look at scatterplot correlations, because this is something we are going to see a lot this year. So up here we have our positive correlations, and then we also have our negative correlations. Okay, so going from my bottom left to my top right, and then from my top left to my bottom right. However, we will often have, or sometimes have, our no correlation. So between these different numbers or data points, we can't really see anything. Sometimes it kind of look like a blob. Our other one we may have is some type of curve here, okay? This one that kind of looks like a swoosh. So this is telling us that it's a nonlinear relationship in a graph. Okay, let's look at this particular graph. Pause for a moment and think about what type of correlation this is. So this is a positive correlation. And what's nice when we have a correlation, whether it's positive or negative, we can draw a line of best fit. So in this instance, I would go right through the center here, okay? What's nice is that this line of best fit, we can actually figure out what the y equals mx plus b for this graph is. And that's something we'll probably do later in the semester when we have software. All right. So our second topic for this video is about rearranging equations. Now this is something that you may have done in math class when you have something that looks like this. And it says solve for x. We're going to do things pretty similar to this, except that we're often dealing with only letters. So maybe something f equals m times a. So it's important to remember our PEMDAS. So starting out with our parentheses first, then exponents, multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. For rearranging equations, it's really about just diving in and rearranging them. So why are we even taking time to rearrange our equations? Let's say that we have f equals m times a. And I give you that the mass is 2 kg and that the force is 200 newtons. Well, you're probably saying, I can just plug in these numbers right here and solve for A. Well, unfortunately, this is when we make a lot of silly mistakes with math. So instead, we need to solve for A first, then plug in these numbers. This helps us avoid calculating errors, and it helps us really improve our math skills and become better problem solvers in general. So let's dive in and practice this. All right, so let's take kind of more a math rearranging equation. So we are going to solve for A. So the first thing I'm looking at, well, I have a square root. The opposite of my square root is my square. So let's square both sides. So I'm going to get 25 equals A plus 25 over 5. So if you think about PEMDAS, the next is division and multiplication. So let's multiply by 5 on both sides. So now I'm going to get 125 equals A plus 25. My last one is addition and subtraction. Subtract on both sides. So we are going to get that A equals 100. So this is when I'm rearranging equations, kind of, but this is with numbers. So this is probably something you've done before in math class. Now let's apply it to just letters. Okay, let's look at these two common examples. So this first one, let's say that I have to solve for M. Okay, if I think about PEMDAS, this is what I'm solving for, which is M. So I have to get rid of this A on both sides. How do I get rid of this A? I divide by A. So now left over, I'm going to have F over A equals M. From here, I can just plug in my numbers for F and A to give me M. Over here on this other side, let's say I'm also solving for M. Okay? Now take a moment to think about what your first step would be, because we can have multiple first steps in this situation. What I would do is to get rid of this 1/2, I can multiply by 2 on both sides. Get rid of that. So I have 2k equals m times v squared. Remember, we're solving for m. Take a moment to think, how am I going to get this m by itself? I can divide by v squared. So the most important thing to remember in these problems is that I'm keeping my letters where they are. Now at this point, all I have to do is plug in my numbers and go. Alright, so thanks for watching and taking notes. Now you need to complete the Google form and press Done on Google Classroom. Please bring any questions to class. We will be reviewing both of these topics over the next few days, and we will do a ton of practice during class. See you soon.